Well, hello there, Susan Parker. How are you?
Good. Good morning.
Good morning. This is actually the first time we've met pseudo face to face, so I'm incredibly excited to be chatting this morning. We came together in a group around wellness and prosperity, and instantly was drawn to the work that you're doing and the way you are bringing beauty and healthcare and wellness and high vibrational connection to our bodies and the dialogue that you share with people through your products. So I'm just honored to have you here, and I would want to turn it over if you're open to telling us a little bit about you and the journey that brought you here.
Okay. Yeah, well, I've been doing this for quite a long time now, 18, 20 years. Originally, in 1991, 92, I did an herbal apprenticeship, and that kind of got me started. I'd always been in the art world and the museum world, and then I did this herbal apprenticeship. And through the process of doing this year-long apprenticeship with Pam Montgomery,
Wow.
I found that I just started making stuff. When we got to making the oils and the infused oils and the salves and the tinctures and all that stuff, some part of me took over. Some knowledgeable part just started working, and it's like, all right, I'll just follow along here, really, as my hands and my just kind of heart, I guess, started connecting with plants and doing things. So that was the early beginning, and then that was back in New York. We moved out to California, and I had some friends at the local Waldorf school, and there was this cow, Malta, and Malta had gotten in some barbed wire, and she was all scarred up and stuff. And so the farmers asked me to make something to help her, and because I was already making herbs and stuff, and working from their farm, some of the herbs on their farm. And so I made this cream. It's called Malta's cream. It's very popular in Sonoma County.
I bet.
Very popular. Anyway, so I was doing that, and about that time, my daughter was maybe 12 or 13, and she wanted to go to the body shop. She wanted to spend all this money and all this body care and stuff, and I had done the herbal apprenticeship. And it's like, let's make it ourselves, dear. So we started making it, and mostly, she went on and did other things, and I've been making it ever since. And so to do the full circle, now at 33, she's joined me. 32, 33, she's joined me making it. So that's part is really fun. So anyway, that's kind of the background of where I am.
Are you still able to wildcraft, or are you buying in bulk?
Grow.
Yeah.
I go up here now. I'm in the Pacific Northwest, so our growing season is much shorter, and it's kind of harder to come by certain kinds of plants. I work with the local farmers, and I have a garden in back, and probably in the beginning, I worked with everything I could. And now, over the years, I've kind of fine-tuned what I want for my skincare products. And pretty much at a certain point in Sonoma County, I decided I would go external treatments as opposed to doing all the tinctures and internal treatments with herbs. Because down there was a lot of full-on physicians who were doing herbal work. So it made sense for me to kind of pick another route.
I feel like a kid in a candy shop. I can't quite decide what direction that we should go, because there's so many things I want to ask you. But I feel like we should step back a little and just start at the place of this thing we see of holistic health and wellness taking root, and people wanting to drink green juice or paying attention to drinking water, and yet they're still going to the body shop or putting things on their skin, and they're not yet making the correlation between this biggest organ, right, of our body and what we put on it. And of course, then there are a million deeper layers. We could go all the way to the vibrational, the energetic, the etheric, but even just on the level of holistic health. Yeah, tell us a little bit about how you help inform people so that they can begin to make the leap from, oh, I can't just buy the thing at the pharmacy and expect my body to experience the benefits that it could if it were made in a whole, intact, holistic way.
Well, you said it. I mean, the skin is the largest organ of our body, and it's quite an intelligent organ. I mean, it has its own immune system, and it it protects and it allows it's both protection and it's a passage of moisture and nutrients in and sweat and out, and it's really that allow it to do what it can to keep us whole, as a whole unit. And so it's important to not put a lot of chemicals on it, because anytime, and I mean sunscreen too.
Yes.
This whole sunscreen business. That we'll do that in the summertime.
Let's do that. Let's plan on that.
Yeah. But you put chemicals on your body, and the cells have to overcome what's there. They can't use it. It's not nutrients. It's really not much of anything. And so it has to overcome it and then use whatever that's in the product that's good. Maybe a little herb or a good oil, maybe, and take what it can. But it's always overcoming what is hard for it to deal with.
Yeah.
Same when we eat food. When we eat bad food, or bad oils or something. They're not nutrition for the body, and it has to store it and then somehow get rid of it.
Yep.
So it's added stress. It's just not.
Absolutely.
It's not helpful.
So not only are you at this intersection of wellness and beauty, but you will also become an oil expert. Tell us a little bit about what you mean when you say good oils. And I know that as a society we're moving back towards recognizing we've vilified oils that shouldn't have been vilified. But there's also a shelf life for oils. There's a lot that goes into oils. Can you educate us a little bit on what we should be thinking of when we think about oil?
That's my new favorite subject. In fact, my book is coming out in March.
Wonderful. That's wonderful.
So I've written a book. Lots of people have written books about the essential oils,
yes.
And I use them in my products and all that, and they're lovely and wonderful. But I really never could find information on the fixed oils, the olive and the almond and the apricot and the argan and rosehip seed and there's zillions, coconut oil, all of those, all of the fixed oils, which I use all the time. I've been using all these years to make stuff, and there was all these bits and pieces of information around, and so I've gathered them all together, and they're coming out in a book soon. So the book is actually going to lay out a lot about the structure and the chemistry and how you store them and stuff like that. But very simply, there's you get into the saturated oils, and they're pretty stable. They're not going to break down on you and mix with oxygen very quickly. That's coconut oil and palm, and which would have to be sustainably grown, and we don't want to destroy habitats. And cocoa butter or shea butter, all of those are pretty stable, and you can kind of keep those around and use them. And then you have the monounsaturated, like olive and sesame, and those are fairly stable, but they do break down in time, and you want to keep them fresh and keep them cool. And then you move into the polyunsaturated, which are the flax is super polyunsaturated. It has lots of areas where it can bind with oxygen.
Right.
And then the omega-6, which is not quite as fragile, but still fragile. And there's a whole range, and they're all different, and they're all good for different purposes. Some are good for protection, like the solid tropical oils are good for sun protection, because nature has given us grows in the environment when the sun is strongest, oils that we can use, and they actually have compounds in them that protect the skin against sunburn and damage, antioxidants and that sort of thing.
Makes so much sense, right? It makes so much sense.
It makes sense, yeah. You just kind of work with things as they come. And then as you move into the more temperate climates, that's when oils become increasingly polyunsaturated. And the thing is, they can go rancid, and you don't want to eat them rancid, but it's that ability of them to bind with oxygen, because you take them into your body and they carry oxygen through the body.
Oh, I love it.
So they have to come in a pure form, not already oxidized.
Yes.
And then in the body, they perform a function.
Wow.
Which is, and then that's where you find your only two essential fatty acids, which is the an omega-3 and an omega-6. And we need both of them. Everybody's vilifying 6 because we get too much of it
Right.
in relation to 3.
Got it.
But the point is that you need them both, and you need them in fairly equal proportions.
Wonderful.
The problem is when they're out of balance, then everything's out of balance.
Yep. We hear an issue about hydration all the time, both on the wellness side, but I deal with it a lot on the chronic illness side. People dealing with chronic illness in Lyme are trying to drink a lot of water, and they're still dry, still having cracked lips, still feeling like they can't process the water. It goes right through them. And I was introduced to this term of not being dehydrated, but being delipidated, and this idea that in bringing up our lipids and getting our oils internally, it's doing what you're describing, moving oxygen throughout the body, but also allowing us to hold on to the hydration and the moisture that the cells need to do all the many things they do. Do you see a correlation between consuming oils and that? I don't know. When I think of hydration, it's not just because we think we need water. It's because we think that's what gives us our glow. It's what helps us feel better. Do you see a correlation between those two things?
Well, the cells of the body are at least 50% fat.
Yeah.
Well, if you're eating a low-fat diet, you're starving yourself. And so what's important is very high-quality oils. And high-quality oily foods, avocado.
So tell us about that. If we were to give some recommendations about most households. If you walked into a household, is there good oil most of the time?
Olive oil.
Okay.
They're usually pretty unrefined. If you get a virgin olive oil or something, those are good. Sesame oil is good to cook with. I mean, a lot of people, now whenever I do much in the way of heat cooking, I use coconut.
Okay.
Because it's saturated and it won't break down.
Great.
Because what causes an oil to go off is time, heat, and light.
Got it.
That's
Okay.
pretty much. And proximity to air. So.
Okay. So what are your favorite oils for each of those? Do you have a brand that you love the most?
Brand? No.
Nope. Anything's okay. All right.
As long as it's organic and good quality.
There we go. Okay, so organic fresh oils kept out of the light and temperature stable. Okay,
Yeah.
great. So now coming back to beauty and to the products that you make, what are some of the your most favorite products and those that your customers enjoy most? I know you mentioned your Multi-Cream being super popular.
Yeah, that's really kind of a first aid kit in a jar. Cuts, burns, wounds, kids, animals, everybody uses it there.
We're going to need it at Hawksperch. I'm going to be looking it up right after we hop off.
But then in my face line, I have a face cream that I've been making almost as long as Malsa's, not quite. Malsa's is the very first cream, and it has a lot of rose extract. It's called Rose and Silk face cream, and it has a lot of rose extracts in it, a lot of high-quality oils, pomegranate and argan and apricot and rosehip seed and tamanu, and then it has pure silk powder. And I do make my emulsions with beeswax, so vegans would probably not want to partake. But, we've got lots of nice body oils that don't do that. And
Beeswax isn't vegan?
Yeah, it's an animal.
But they surrender their hives. We have beautiful beeswax at Hawksperch right now. Surrendered to us as a gift from the bees.
And I'm not, but I do, kind of allow people to.
Sure. Wow. What's the name of that cream?
That's Rose and Silk cream.
Rose and Silk cream.
And what's interesting about the silk powder in it is it actually feels warm on really cold days.
Oh, wow.
It kind of holds the. I don't know. It's a warming substance. In fact, I kind of got the idea from a friend of mine at the Waldorf School years ago. One of Malsa's farmers. And she said, "Oh, you should put silk powder in your thing." And I was part of the Waldorf movement when my kids were little and they were in school. And so I looked it up, what Dr. Steiner said, and basically the silk. He was all for wearing silk for his events and stuff. And
It's life-giving. Yeah.
Sun, stay away from it. It's dangerous and all this stuff. I think we're kind of gotten a little too extreme there. And it's a life source.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I use it to infuse my oils, and then this wonderful silk powder that I get to use that is made by these wonderful little creatures. So.
Oh, sounds just like magic. I can't wait to try it. So in terms of making a transition and making good choices for ourselves around products for our face, if you were to recommend one place to start or one thing for a person to do where they could really begin to activate their receptor sites to just the stark contrast between a living product made with love versus something you would find on the shelf, what would that one thing be? Where would you recommend someone start?
Start with oil.
Yeah.
Oils. I mean, I make a lot of products, but because of this interest in researching the book and writing the book, oftentimes I'll only use oil now. And there's wonderful variety. There's jojoba,
Yeah.
which is it's technically a wax, but it's a liquid wax, and it's very similar to the sebum of the skin. You can use olive oil. It's a little greasy, it's a little oily, but if you live in a really warm climate, it helps protect against the sun. There's argan, is the new in oil that you find all over the internet. And then there's all these wonderful oils like the rosehip seed oil, but raspberry seed oil.
Love it.
And cranberry seed oil, which is very seasonal.
Love it. How fun. So start with oils on just directly applied.
So after washing, just with water, or very simply with a really good quality soap cleanser or something like that, when your face is slightly damp, then just put a thin film of oil on it, and that's really all you need. A good quality oil.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I look forward to part 2 in the summer when we talk about sunscreens.
We'll go into the sun.
And definitely keep us posted about your book. We would love to share it here at Full Circle and Chronic Wellness Tools. Everyone will be able to find more information about you below and over on the blog as well. And I encourage you to go find Susan, support her work, and remember when you're making that choice next time about what you're putting on and in your body to seek out products that are made with the kind of love and information and knowledge and incredible deep light that you carry. Make those kinds of choices. So grateful to have you here with us. Thank you, Susan.
Okay, it was wonderful talking to you.
You too. Take care.